The Warriors' pursuit of glory has never been a straight line, and now the latest twist threatening to redefine the dynasty lands, squarely on the shoulders of an aging but battle-tested veteran Al Horford. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan. Report where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Imagine the sparkle in Dub Nation's eyes. The first whispers surface. Al Horford, yes. The seasoned center who has woven his quiet brilliance through championship runs and playoff battles is eyeing a homecoming not just to any squad, but to the Golden State Warriors' frontline core. Yet, this isn't just another free agent. Headline, the scroll past. It's a seismic signal that the Warriors' front office, forever balancing on the razor's edge of cap space and roster chemistry, might be betting their chips on wisdom and precision over mere youth and athleticism. Horford, with his polished passing vision, lockdown defense, and surprisingly lethal three-point shot from nearly 2 triples a game, could slot seamlessly into the Warriors' slick system, one that thrives on spacing and ball movement, especially when Curry and Butler draw every eyeball and defender away like a magnet pulling iron filings. His contract is a chess move, not just a signing. At 39, Horford is no Iron Man, certainly not built to endure the brutal grind of back-to-back games. And yet, that veteran presence, the kind that calms locker rooms, answers pressure with poise, and reminds younger guns like Kuminga and Moody what playoff grit truly looks like, is a priceless commodity. But here's the part no one saw coming. The Warriors' offseason. Drama is tangled not just in Horford's age or minutes, but locked in a stalemate with the rising star Jonathan Kuminga, whose contract negotiations stubbornly inch along, a roadblock casting a long shadow over the summer's plans. Kuminga's camp seeks respect and security, a deal reflecting his emergence as a cornerstone, not a trade chip. In the Warriors' current offer, 2 years, $45 million with a no-trade clause, doesn't quite bridge that gulf. This ripple threatens to stall the delicate roster recalibration, especially with Kevin Looney's departure leaving a gaping hole in the frontcourt. A void Mike Dunleavy Jr. openly admits must be filled by a stretch center who can do more than just set screens. The pressure cooker intensifies when you consider Golden State's grueling schedule, a stretch that will feature 15 back-to-backs, the second most in the entire league. A merciless gauntlet that doesn't just challenge skill, but breaks bodies, tests recovery, and forces rotations to bend in ways that can make or unmake a season. It's not a small detail. It's the kind of structural weight that can shift a championship window, especially when you're staring at a roster now leaning into the oldest tiers of NBA history. A nearly 40-year-old Al Horford, sturdy and wise but undeniably mortal, being asked to endure those flights, those hotels, those unforgiving back-to-backs. Can his legs keep pace? Can his lungs hold when the season hits its fiercest storms? It isn't just about Horford, though. It's about what his presence symbolizes, an organization caught in the balance beam between squeezing out one more title and acknowledging that the margin for error is growing thinner than ever. Because Warriors fans know better than most how fragile dominance can be. We've seen it unravel before. The heartbreak of 2016 isn't some distant cautionary tale. It still burns. A 73-9 masterpiece, a team that felt immortal undone by fatigue, suspensions, injuries, and a cruel twist of fate. That collapse, that pain, still hovers in the rafters, whispering warnings whenever optimism grows too loud. And what followed was its own paradox. The Durant years, gilded with championships, yet laced with unease. Perfect on the surface, fractured underneath. When that era ended, it left both banners and scars, triumph and exhaustion, proof that even the most unstoppable-looking dynasties carry cracks deep inside. And now, years later, the Warriors stand once again on the edge, leaning on veterans, older than most contenders dare to trust, while holding in their hands the untapped promise of Kuminga and Moody, two players whose development arcs seem forever out of sync with the ticking clock of Steph Curry's greatness. This is why Horford's. Arrival feels less like a transaction and more like a philosophy test. He's not just a veteran, he's a blueprint. Old school grit wrapped in modern spacing, a 6'9" anchor who can knock down threes and quarterback a defense. His shooting gives Golden State an extra wrinkle. His leadership offers a steady voice. Plug him in the Kerr's motion offense, and suddenly you imagine a second unit humming with rhythm. Defenders forced to choose between shadowing Horford on the arc or collapsing on the Curry's gravitational pull. On paper, it's chess. On the floor, it could be checkmate, but the doubts linger. Every playoff run is a war of attrition, and the fear is that Horford's body might not be able to keep up with the cruel tempo of May and June. Warriors fans can't shake the worry. Is this a smart insurance policy or a dangerous gamble on borrowed time? Meanwhile, the youth watch and wait. Jonathan Kuminga's saga hangs heavy, a subplot threatening to eclipse everything else. His contract whispers have already started. Will he take the qualifying offer? Will he keep options open? Will he outgrow the team before they figure out how to use him? Each minute he plays, each highlight dunk, each defensive stop feels like evidence for or against his future here. Moody, quieter, less dramatic, lurks on the edges too. A shooter begging for a consistent role, a player who looks ready but doesn't always get the nod. Their presence creates tension. Can Kerr find enough trust in them to ease the load on aging stars? Or will the franchise's instinct to ride experience until the wheels fall off win again? Every decision here carries echoes of past regrets. From letting Harrison Barnes walk, to watching younger assets flourish elsewhere, while the Dynasty doubled down on veterans, add to that the grind of the schedule. 15 back-to-backs means 15 tests of discipline, depth, and recovery. Think about what that really means. Steph on tired legs facing Yamorin on a Friday, Draymond battling Jokic on a Saturday, Clay trying to dig deep for one more clutch fourth quarter in Dallas after playing 37 minutes the night before. Fatigue doesn't just show up in box scores. It creeps into rotations, forces coaches to make compromises, and it can crack the chemistry of a locker room when roles start shifting unpredictably. For Golden State, whose entire system is built on timing, rhythm, and trust, that's the kind of disruption that can ripple into disaster. And yet, that's also where opportunity hides. Kerr has proven again and again that he can reinvent on the fly. The "we believe" echoes still remind us of how chaos can become culture. The 2022 title run wasn't supposed to happen either. It was supposed to be a transition year, a bridge season where the team looked too old and too fragile. Instead, it became a story of resilience, tactical brilliance, and belief. Could Horford be the next unlikely thread that stitches together another banner? Could Kuminga, finally unleashed, be the energy jolt that keeps his roster from breaking down? Or is this all just another precarious dance, one misstep away from collapse? The front office knows the stakes. Salary cap gymnastics become more punishing each year. Draft picks dangle on the horizon, assets weighed like poker chips in a game, where the buy-in keeps rising. Rivals circle like sharks, Denver flexing its muscle, Phoenix reshaping on the fly, the Clippers hunting every be-out candidate. The Warriors are no longer the unquestioned kings. They are a dynasty fighting to stay alive, every decision dissected, every rumor magnified. And that is why Horford's arrival, this roster's age, and the suffocating schedule feel less like storylines and more like chapters of a single test. How much longer can greatness bend before it breaks? As a fan, the pulse is impossible to ignore. Dub Nation has lived every shade of this journey, from the delirium of Clay's 37-point quarter to the despair of the finals collapse, from Durant's cold inevitability to the euphoric redemption of 2022. And here we are again, staring at another season that feels like both promise and warning, both ignition and fracture. Every dribble, every rotation, every lineup tweak carries more weight than ever before. And deep down, we all know, This isn't just about chasing wins. It's about chasing time itself, So the question hangs heavier than ever. Is this the ignition point for the next Warriors miracle, or the quiet beginning of the dynasty's fade? The sound of the buzzer fades, but the echoes of this roster shakeup are just beginning to ripple through Chase Center and beyond. Can you feel the seismic tremors beneath the hardwood floor shaking the very foundation of Dub Nation? If your heart's racing as fast as mine right now, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a second of the drama that's about to redefine the Warriors' future. Picking up exactly where we left off, it's clear this isn't just a trade or a casual roster tweak. It's a tectonic shift challenging everything we thought we knew about this team's identity and trajectory. Imagine the Warriors stepping into the post-KD era with an urgency wrapped in both hope and desperation. The ripple effects in the trade market have sent ripples scratch that tsunamis as rivals recalibrate their offers and front offices scramble to predict Golden State's moves. The whispers in the NBA grapevine paint a picture of a team desperate to balance maintaining championship pedigree with the painful necessity of retooling around Steph and Klay. But here's the twist no one saw coming. Whispers now include a potential blockbuster pairing that could unsettle not just the Western Conference, but the entire basketball world. From a chemistry standpoint, the locker room is a pressure cooker, with veterans who have tasted glory looking at the newer faces with either guarded optimism or the steely skepticism of champions unwilling to settle for anything less than a title. The coaching staff's strategic equation has grown exponentially more complex. How do you blend a lineup that's both a nod to the past glories of the We Believe run and a futuristic push that flirts with the sharp edges of today's analytics-driven, pace and space metamorphosis? Salary cap puzzle pieces are flying in every direction, forcing GM Bob Myers and his brain trust to execute moves that read like chess master gambits. Each adjustment sending shockwaves through the luxury tax threshold and future draft capital. What's profound here is how history seems to echo back at the Warriors. Remember the bittersweet agony of that record-breaking 73-9 season that fell short in the finals? That haunting year shaped this franchise in ways that still resonate, pushing them to craft a resilient, almost ruthless mentality that brought home multiple rings. The shadows of those heartbreaks linger like ghosts in the locker room, adding layers of psychological complexity to every roster move. And as fans, our hopes are tangled with fears. Can this iteration match the Warrior spirit of Andre Iguodala's defense, the cold-blooded playoff clutch of Klay Thompson's Game 6 heroics, or the smooth dominance of Durant's offensive virtuosity? Rivalries, once simmering, are now boiling over a refreshed Clippers lineup, eyes the Warriors with renewed hostility. The Suns are lurking as contenders, and the Lakers, in their ever-volatile carousel of stars and drama, complicate the picture. For Golden State's reign, tactically, the Warriors must now rethink their rotations profoundly. How will Kerr manipulate defensive assignments to compensate for lost shot creators? Can the bench step into a void previously occupied by superstars? Young players like Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody enter a crucible testing not only their skill but their leadership potential as the team demands growth under fire, forcing a metamorphosis from promising rookies into franchise pillars. Inside the locker room, the dynamic between the old guards who have lived through the Durant saga and the youthful blood clamoring for minutes cultivates a narrative of mentorship and tension, producing either a perfect storm of synergy or a combustible division, no one can predict which. Contract situations loom like hidden mines that could explode in the coming seasons, dictating urgency in front office maneuvers and keeping fans on edge about long-term sustainability. But here's where things spiral into the unknown what. If the Warriors pull a move that not only shocks the league, but fundamentally alters the trajectory of the entire franchise? What if the next chapter, already twist-laden, includes a return of a prodigal son or an unforeseen trade that causes this fan base to either erupt in joy or tremble at betrayal? History, emotions, tactics, and raw human drama collide in this moment as the Warriors teeter on a razor's edge. And as we stand on the edge of whatever comes next for Dub Nation, I can't shake the question, are we witnessing the ignition of our next dynasty push, or the fracture that sends it all crashing down? Sound off in the comments, Dub Nation Isle. Be right there in the thick of it with you, riding every high and every heartbreak right here on Warriors News Fan Report. Personally, I believe Dub Nation has been through storms before, and while the winds of change are howling louder than ever, this franchise's DNA is built on resilience. Whether this moment marks a fresh ascent or a painful crossroads, 1. Things certain our passion won't waver, and neither will our loyalty.